roter Samt, weißer Samt, weißer Samt, roter Samt, du schöner Ort im Partnerland.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, depending on which part of the world you are in. So today we're going to upgrade the breathing mechanism of the 1290 Superduke. This will be valid for vehicles from 2013, when was it launched? 2013 up until 2019. Or to make it easier, if your exhaust system is the straight down version, not the higgledy-piggledy of the newer ones, then this is valid. The air filter in question is from DNA, and yes, I know some of you are screaming hypocrite because I had it on the Tiger and it didn't exactly filter well. Well, Tiger's off-road, this one's street. Tip, you don't have to buy a Superduke filter version because they charge you 400 Rand more. This one is actually suited for the KTM 790 and 890 Adventure. But it's the same fucking thing. Okay. As usual. What do we need? We need tools, a bit of silicone grease just to grease the rubber side so it makes a perfect seal. We'll need Loctite, the key obviously, some gloves and rags. Oh, and a beer. And then we come to these. Now, those of you interested in performance upgrades have probably seen the Rottweiler performance website, where they also offer you velocity stacks. I went on a 3D printer site, I think it was Club 3D, something like that, don't remember. I'll leave the link in the description. But basically, there were a couple of velocity stacks in one package, so I chose this one. It's apparently wider, and it's short, and it's got the golf ball design. Okay, before we get into the technicalities, what are velocity stacks? Velocity stacks are basically a light version of a compressor. Hear me out, I'm trying to explain it in layman's terms how I understood it, and I know people will start correcting me, so shush. Basically, let's keep it basic. Velocity stacks, tall, okay. Imagine in the bathtub, you pull the plug, and now the water has to come drain away. And it'll do so slowly. Okay, drop down gravity. Velocity stack, however, the water gathers speed as it gets down. That's the way. And golf balls, well, this golf ball design will make little air pockets where the air will basically float over, reducing friction. If it gets too complicated, skip to the next chapter. And now we come to the important part, size. I went for a short one. Just think, hear me out, okay? A long one, the air will travel from the top all the way down. It takes a while to get there, okay, to get up to speed, where the short one, quicker. So theory is, or not theory, proven scientific facts, a short one means you will increase the torque and the power on the low down RPMs, where a tall one, KTM for example, the OEMs are quite tall. So that's why, as with the twins, the power band comes in later, okay, in the higher RPMs. I went low because I chose the short version because I want to be better in cornering, and you got to learn from that, so I'm going to try it slow and steady, which I tried on the track, and I really found that with the Superduke acceleration, there's a real dip between 3000 and 4000. Okay, maybe this will solve it, but also after I fit all of this, it is going on the dyno, and I will hopefully include it with this video. Well, anyway, so engine modifications. Will it work? Who knows? The dyno tuning will probably have a better effect than these, but we're going to do it for shits and giggles. So let's get her stripped down. First order of stripping, please make sure that your bike is very secure. so it doesn't run away. Then we're going to take the seat off and the side panels. And then hopefully, actually no, the tank is full. We got to take the tank off. Okay, which is a little complicated, but I'll muzzle it through. You'll see. To remove the side panels, you've got 1, 2, and 3. And once you've got that, just slides forward and out. While we're in here, make sure that you start cleaning these screens as well, the bug filters or water dispersant filters. Whatever. You can also check your coolant level at this time. Tool you will need is a T30 Torx to remove the side panels. Now, to get this out, we're gonna need a 6mm Allen key, both sides. And once that is done, the tank is, for all purposes, quite loose. Now, before you even lift it, take off this. There's also a breather hose here. You just have to unclip. Mine's orange because mine was missing, so I replaced it. This one's the coolant overflow, so leave that. Okay, and then there's a quick connect coupler here. That's the fuel hose going into the pump. That we're going to disconnect, put a rag underneath because precious fuel will dribble out. And there's also electrical connections under here. So we're going to disconnect all of these and then gently lift the tank about 2 fingers. I usually take a wooden block or something just to wedge it up so we can work underneath. Don't put anything here. This is your baby's brain. Yeah, there's a few brain cells rolling in there, so we don't want to damage any of these connectors. That's expensive. Oh, and for those of you asking, this is the breather of the tank, meaning if it gets too hot, it has to vent inside out. I just put a filter here because in South Africa, it has sucked up quite a lot of dirt over the years, or there's usually a bit of fuel sitting here, and the color of that fuel is molasses black. Okay, and just imagine that travels back into your, yeah. I'm pedantic, okay? You don't have to do this shit. Alright, let's loosen it. Okay, so mine's propped up, and this is the connection we have to sever. Okay, and obviously this one as well, so those 2 connections. If you're a smoker, please refrain from doing that. There are quite a few fumes, so inhale. Oh, very important, if you have keyless, there's this one last wire you have to disconnect. And then lift back up away. I spoke too soon. There's one more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things you have to disconnect. You may have to take off your shoes. And when you do put it down, please put something on it, because as you can see, there's plastic, wires, cabling. So rather have it lifted off. In the front there's nothing. Okay. Baby, have you lost weight? You look good. Said no man who wanted to live for another 5 seconds to a woman ever. Okay, so we got to take this one off. That's the air sensor. Click, and then we take these off. And please, I'll mention it twice in this video. These are metal screws in plastic. When you tighten these, don't go overboard, okay? Unless you wanna... no. Just be very gentle, okay? Let's get this off. And there we go. Now, you don't need to unhook that. This will not stay, just, attach something. That pipe is the breather from the engine, so the oil fumes from the engine block are basically re-injected in here. And I'm not a big fan of it, but, Euro compliance. There's your air sensor. If you have a MAF or MAF sensor cleaner, put that on. And here we go. There are the velocity stacks, which looks like they need a clean. We'll take that out. Let's have a look at the This isn't a performance air filter. Where's the stock OEM? Okay, well, gentlemen, this is what happens when you inherit, well, not inherit, but buy second-hand motorcycles. You never know what gifts you will get, be it poorly serviced or whatever. How do you actually get this thing out? Just... okay, so it's as simple as pull. Okay. We'll clean you shortly. Let's have a look at you. What brand are you? Okay. Everything comes out. Okay, that's quite dirty. What are you? Oh, for crying in a bucket. Okay. Anybody want to buy a DNA air filter? Oh, what a joke. Okay, never mind. While we're in here, yeah, I know, famous last words. Gonna take some cleaner, get that oil out of there, and let's disassemble the velocity stacks. Your T30 Torx fits here as well. Let's try that again. Alright, after that little excitement. One last thing, gentlemen, if you do use these air filters, try not to over-oil them, because that oil, that's not from the engine, because it's actually, well, a little bit engine, but the other side was completely red. So there's that. Okay, so there's your velocity stack. Hopefully this fits. Should be, yeah, looks like it. Oh, for fuck's sake. Luckily, I had 4 printed. Why 4? Well, 2 for mine and 2 for an 1190R, which my friend Paul will be bringing by one of these days. Because for adventure bikes, low down torque is a lot more, how do we say, useful than on street bikes. Did I just defeat the purpose of this? So here you see, side by side, the stock OEM versus the 3D printed one. 3D printed, I used material that, not me, but I hired somebody. It's material that's fuel and, well, fuel proof or fuel resistant and up to 180 degrees before softening. A little overkill, but it works. Alternatively, if you're a lazy bugger, you could always trim these down and then with a heat gun give it your own lip. But I don't think that'll work. And a weight saving as well. And here are the intake valves, which are absolutely spotless. Okay. Obviously, I cleaned everything. The red oil residue. Use a rag with a bit of paraffin. Gets rid of everything. So let's install. Oh, that looks awfully pretty. White, pure, so virgin. Alright, that's that. What are we doing next? Okay, now this is pedantic me again. We're going to add a little bit of silicone grease just to make sure that everything seals properly. The air sensor we're going to clean, and then we're going to install the brand new air filter, because why reuse the old shit? Let's go. And then when that is done, we're going to close this up. And again, don't use a lot of force. But Patrick, I used too much force and now it's stripped. What do I do? Yeah, future me. Okay, what I would recommend here is take a hot glue gun, shoot hot glue in there, wait a bit, and then tighten it. The hot glue will solidify and hopefully make a new thread for you. Now, if you do service your own motorcycle, may I recommend putting a bit of red rubber grease or silicone grease on these connectors, so next time they pop off easier. Just to save yourself a little bit of a headache. Right, where's that heavy ass tank? There's also a little bit of preventative maintenance you can do here. Now, as we know, or at least I know, the fuel tank sits on these sliders. Not very securely, okay? It can bounce around. And it rests here, on the main frame, on these little rubber things. And is secured by those two bolts. And unfortunately, the tank, with the fairings, connected to the radiator. Now, if the tank, a very heavy beast, starts doing this, yeah, there have been instances where the radiator basically cracks, or these things shear, but usually the vibrations make it crack somewhere here on either side. In order to prevent this, easy fix, cheap, I got a bit of felt, not very thick, just, normal felt, double-sided, stuck that in place, and the tank now rests on that. And when you push it in, and you try to move it, there's hardly any play. So the tank is very secure now. And that's all it took. I mean, shit, KTM could have sold you a piece of rubber foam for 70 euros to fix this problem. Where, with me, you get it for free. Yeah, I know, I'm nice. Yeah. Right, so a full day's dyno tuning by Dyno by Quint in Edenvale. We went through it a little bit. Okay, I wasn't happy because between 3,500, 4,500 there was this dip. So it's not there anymore. Okay, I know, shorten it, what's the end result? The end result, we started off with 177 horsepower, we don't count 0.1, torque 135, and we ended up with 186 and 104 Newton meters. So that's about 5% increase. The main concern was, as the technician stated, it was running very, very lean. Okay, granted. So these are the changes. I'm not going to explain them. You've got the image. You can make your own conclusions and assumptions from there onwards. The takeaway point is, getting your motorcycle dyno tuned is a worthwhile experience, especially here in Johannesburg, where we're way above sea level, so it might just be to your benefit. The end result? How does it drive? Jesus Christ, ladies and gentlemen. I can now understand why they call it the Beast. After that dyno tuning, it's incredible. It was near undrivable. It was just a little bit of throttle and the engine just fucking surged you forward, and engine braking was there, and I had to ride it back home in rain mode because that was the only way where the throttle was really sedated compared to street. That was in street mode, huh? Not even sport mode. So the guy said because of the air sensor, the ECU is still learning as well. It will get even better, or it will even itself out after a while, the more you drive it. Or so other people have stated. Don't know if that's true, but I'm very happy. 186 horsepower? Hey, now we're back to Superduke Generation 1 or Generation 3. Not too shabby. I hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck on your next bike.